So let's get right into it. Pastor, I'm going to start with you. And this question has been ringing in my mind for quite a while now. I've known you from Kaduna, and I've always known you to be interested in what young people are doing. You've always been somebody who will initiate certain things, startups, and all of that. But what is your motivation, particularly in a situation where, or in a system where it's very easy to suspect people, in quotes, he's a man of God, he wants to take advantage of and all of that. What has been your driving force?
Well, I think it's a good opportunity for people to know that one of the things that I love is to see things grow. I remember as a little child at the age of 10, 11, I would take seeds from, the store at home. And I would just dig and I would plant. And I would go there every day, to see, the seed germinate and grow. And I would harvest, some seeds. It wasn't so much about harvesting food, but I love growth. I planted carrots. I was so focused on growth. And, of course, carrots grow downwards, all right, vertically downwards. So you don't know whether it's really growing. And I would go and pluck out one and find a short carrot. At the end of the day, I ate all the carrots before they matured because I love to see growth. So what drives me is seeing people grow. And the growth track, that was part of the conversation we were having with Wilson. And I was just, happy with him that he's able to tell us where he started and also show us where he is and where he's going. It's what's missing in a lot of people today, that people just come up with highfalutin words, I became this and I'm a millionaire, I'm a billionaire, I'm successful. But there's no track to follow. And so there's an inner desire just to see people, blossom, find their bearing in life. And that's the calling of God in my life. So whenever I see it and whatever opportunities there are, I just go for it. Secondly, I'm one who's also, I'm willing to try things. I've shared this story a couple of times where I traveled with some friends. We were in Italy many years ago. I wasn't saved. If I knew then what I know now, I probably wouldn't do some stuff. But we were at a swimming pool and I couldn't swim. But everybody could swim.
Okay.
And I was ashamed to go in through the shallow end. So everybody just dove in. Ooh, wow, they're swimming to the other end. I said, me, shallow end. Then they'll be laughing at me. So I dove into the deep end. And I knew I couldn't swim, but I knew I had to survive. So everything I had seen, I'd watched people swim, I started doing it. And so I'm under the water, I'm trying to get out, and I'm praying that I get to that point where my feet will touch the ground, then I can stand up. And the first time I tried it, my feet couldn't touch the ground. So there's panic, and I'm doing all of that. Then finally my feet touches the ground. I stood up like, I really swam. So we were at that poolside.
Please don't try that at home, okay?
Don't try it. We were at the pool for 3 hours. My friends left that place believing I was an expert swimmer. Only me knew that I couldn't swim. So how does that translate into things? It's just like this summit. God puts the idea in my heart, and I've carried it for a while. Look, Creativity Summit, there are lots of creatives. People should be doing things. Let's empower young people. Let's do it. I call a team of people together, and I don't think how much is it going to cost. Let's do it. We begin to plan. Oh, can we reach Kunle Idowu? Can we reach, Patrick, Otoro? Can we reach Kunle Shorinyo? He was, just like, hey, Kunle is my friend. Are you in Nigeria? He's in Nigeria. And we started, and here we are today. And honestly, I'm excited. So this also is jumping it at the deep end. There are lots of people who feel this is in ministry. You're not preaching the gospel. You're not preaching 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 10. I like to be in those places. I love disruption.
Okay.
I like when things are abnormal. I like to dare new things, do new things. And I love young people to do the same. So that's the essence of this. A couple of months ago, we had a tech summit in the same place in partnership with Microsoft. Never been that road before. But I just felt we need to go there. Let's empower people. Let's show people that the world has changed and they can position themselves to be a part of that change.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. I needed us to get that out so that even for those who are just coming today for the first time, you'd also have a sense of what we're doing here. I know there are people who just came in today for the very first time. Some of you may have missed out when he gave an opening remark a couple of days ago. So I hope that also gives you an idea of what we're doing here. All right, what we're really going to be looking at today is leveraging media platforms for positive impact. Is this achievable or a tall order? I'll start with Aunt Kemi. Let me ask you this. At least we grew up watching Tales by Moonlight. We know the likes of Peter Igor, one of the most prolific producers Nigeria has ever seen, I must say. Has anything changed from content, particularly in terms of writing? Because I know I really enjoyed Things Fall Apart and a couple of other programs on NTA. This time around, sometimes you tune into certain, even cable network, and you don't really find that originality, that thing you're looking for. You don't find it. What has changed?
With regards to at least public television at the time, what happens was the creatives left. Because when you think about it, there was a time when, okay, now I'm showing my age, there was Kokra Dawn, Village Headmaster. And isn't it strange that I remember I went to a seminar some years ago and somebody was saying the days of Village Headmaster, Kokra Dawn. I'm thinking that's 80s. And we're in the year 2000s and we're still saying the days. What has NTA been doing? You have the greatest coverage. We even had TV before South Africa. The range we had it. Radio, we had everything set. We're not producing content because the people there or the powers that be either they don't know how or they have so strangled creativity that you need to move out to be creative and they rather just whatever government gives them, do a documentary. They're not thinking. I mean, 80s, that was even before EastEnders. EastEnders, I think, started 85, 95. EastEnders is one of the longest running series daily in UK. And we're still talking about Kokra Dawn or there's this one by Amaka Igwe. I've forgotten what it was. Checkmate. One time I had the privilege to sit down and talk with her. And she said that actually she produced it. You know, obviously we know she produced it, but it wasn't the brainchild of NTA. It's like they created it, brought it to NTA. When the thing became popular, and she started getting frustrated by them. You know, so it's like, who are these people showing? Because people are now coming to NTA watching, they produce content. But then when NTA is not pushing content, people will come. Usurpers, I won't say usurpers, but we have foreign cable channels coming into our country, having their own daily soap. And then suddenly some Nigerians get angry. Why are they doing this? Why are they taking over? Because you let them take over. They came and found virgin territory. Nobody was doing anything. So they started producing their own. And then even while they were producing, the Nigerian system would try to frustrate them or try to, just try to strangle it. But then, of course, they stuck their guns. I mean, think about it. They came into our territory. We were not doing anything. They started doing. And of course, they'll have their own rules, their own philosophies in place.
You're referring to the advent of Telemundos and all of that?
Yes. Yes, exactly. I mean, there was a time Telemundos, why weren't we creating our own content? South Africa has like over 40 different languages, They try to reflect that. We in Nigeria, we have the people from Warri, the East. We have dialects that even we don't know about. We are not creating content, our own content.
All right. Patrick, let me come to you. How far back has this set us? Has this set us back in any way?
Honestly, it has. Several years behind. As we speak, Nigeria right now, our values in terms of culture, maybe now that Nollywood is having a rebirth or a renaissance, if you like, are dying. Because the only way most of these things can live on is to tell our stories ourselves. And like they say, if you don't tell your story, somebody else will. And that person may just be telling it the wrong way, which is what has happened to us. But for Nollywood, the stories you'll probably be hearing trending all over the world about Nigeria is crime, corruption, and all that. But why they celebrate the Nigerian actors abroad is because they are watching our productions and they like what they see. And I'm also happy that we don't do ritual films anymore. That used to be the order of the day back in the day when Nollywood started. It used to be everything ritual, or white handkerchief, you disappear. That was the story. But now we don't disappear anymore. We tell real stories, good stories.
Let me ask quickly, could that be the reason why we've so glamorized unconsciously, or should I say subconsciously glamorized Yahoo boys, Yahoo Plus, and all of that? Because even on TikTok, I see content like that. People deliberately putting content like that on TikTok. Could that be one of the reasons?
Yeah, it could be. The reality we face today is that everybody wants to make it. And that's why even if you watch most of even the productions we have now, as good as they are, we tell some stories that are not real. One of the reasons why I agreed to be part of Alita was the reality in the story. There was a village girl that came to the city and is making it. That is our story. But when you watch a movie where everybody lives in a glass house, everybody's looking very prop and prim. All the ladies are always wearing makeup, even when they are sleeping in the bed. That's a problem for me. That is not us. So when you tell real life stories, which is what I like about Figurine as well, is a true life. I mean, you can relate. You see the characters, you can relate to them. That makes viewership and followership easy because this is me. I can see myself in some story. When people don't see themselves in stories, it's not real anymore, and you actually will be losing your audience in the process.
Okay, you want to react to that?
Yeah, I just wanted to add this because she was reminding me about the power of our story. You know, you've talked about the Yahoo phenomenon. This happened to me. I was in China. I think this was about 16 years ago. I was in Shanghai. I traveled to Guangzhou, and I was coming back to Shanghai. So I hadn't seen any black person. This is now, there are lots of blacks in China. So 16, 17 years ago, look how many black people, you're walking in China and they're touching your skin like, are you, you know, they can't understand you. I'm at the counter, and I see a Kenyan. I didn't know she was Kenyan. There's a lady. I'm excited, like finally, black person. And I have a conversation with her. Where are you from? I mentioned Nigeria, and she kind of like hesitated. Well, she checked into her room. There about 9 p.m., I went to the restaurant. She was there. She's the only black person I've seen. So I went to sit by her table, and we began a conversation. And after a while, she said, you know, I want to ask a question. When I saw you, and you said you were Nigerian, I became afraid. And I said, why? She said, because in Kenya, we watch Nigerian home videos. And somebody would touch you and you disappear.
Okay.
I'm not joking.
All right.
She said, so I didn't want you to touch me or come near me because I may just disappear. And I said, no, you know, so I had to now start trying to explain why those things are there. But this is real life. Now, and that's to tell us, especially as Christians, we are not just content creators, but we're also carriers of culture, kingdom culture and values. We must not lose out on that. So if in China, someone could be afraid of even, because we shook hands, she was very finicky about it, could be afraid. And it was when we shook hands and she didn't disappear that she realized that, okay, maybe this isn't, and I'm not kidding, it sounds like a myth. So what we push out there in terms of content is also defining who we are as a people. And as Christians, we must reshape the minds of people. There's so much demon, you know, if you sleep and you dream and you see you eat in your sleep, you are possessed. I ate last month in my dream because I was hungry when I went to bed. So, and the food was sweet. Do you get what I'm saying? How do we, and it's all those narratives again that lots of believers are pushing out. And they're not biblical. So let's not forget that. Content is not just about being content creators, but what values are we pushing? What are we, maybe Kemi would say something. She was trying to.
I would like to ask this question, and Big Wheels, and Kemi, you can also jump on the question. There's a narrative that most times when people like yourself, photographers and screenwriters are contacted by perhaps foreign donors and all of that, they deliberately want to get pictures that will depict Nigeria or Africa in a certain light. Mm-hmm. Is that true?
Okay. Let me start by talking about some of the content I've put out, and you discover that some people will make comments under that. Why are we not seeing the slums? Why are we not seeing the people suffering? And I made one of the videos I made. I said in the video that my YouTube channel is to promote Africa. It's not to depict the pictures that they've been seeing. They've seen a lot of that. I'm not there to put out those kind of pictures, So what I do on my channel is just to tell the positive story of Africa, the way I see it. And I've done this for years. And
when
I
say bad news, what is negative sells
I also
most.
wanted to say that if I keep pushing out content like that they want, it will get a lot of views because that's what they want. But I'm not ready to do that. I'm ready to tell the good stories that we have, but with a balance. What I do, even if I want to say or show something that is not very good, I don't show it as bad as it is. I just showed a bit of it because the truth is that they have told so many bad stories about us. Why am I promoting the bad stories? It makes no sense. Because the story I need to tell is the good one, and that is what I want to tell.
So let me ask you this. It's more like a practical question. You're contacted to go do a story of out-of-school children in the Northeast.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the reality, and there are quite a number of them out of school. What sort of story will you tell?
Okay.
Or rather, how would you approach that story?
First of all, it depends on what they want me to tell, really. If they just want me to tell how the Boko Haram incidents have affected the kids and now they're no more in school, yes, I will tell the story that way. But if they want me to depict it as if they are suffering and they're all dying, which is not true, I will not. I will not. I will only tell you the story as I see it, and I will show you the way it is, not to color it or make it look more terrible than it is.
Okay, Kemi, can you jump on that?
Yes, I just remembered a story Chimanda was talking about when she was describing her childhood to a group of foreigners or Europeans, and she said she had a bicycle growing up and she would drive down or ride her bicycle, and they were like, bicycle. That sounds like our own childhood. That cannot be your childhood, because they like the idea of, maybe it's only when it rained you went out to bath, or, you lived in abject poverty, you didn't have TV. Actually, the people over there abroad, many of them have been so poisoned by a bad impression that has been sold to them of Africa, that if you're not careful and you go abroad too, you would start to believe it and think you forget about the reality of Nigeria. Because those who have gone abroad maybe 5-10 years and haven't come home in a while start having that same point of view. Oh, they'll kill us. If I just go out the street, somebody will stab me because the crime rate is so high. Meanwhile, in America, they have maybe even more people die per day. They are not pushing that out. So the thing is, and to be fair, there are different types of, there's the real. There are super rich people in Nigeria who are living on a different plane, though they may be the 1%. There are those living in abject poverty. There are those in the middle. Then there are those, so which story would you tell? Film sometimes likes to exaggerate, or maybe they find it aspirational. Telemundos, those are even for the people in those countries. They are done to be everybody hyper-glamorous, is beautiful. Everybody is wearing makeup every day. It's a type of storytelling. It's fake. But people like it because it's a form of escapism. Some people don't want to go and watch poverty. It's like, we have enough poverty at home. I want to see people living large too, so that I have a goal to go to in my life. So it depends on you. What story consciously are you happy to tell and comfortable to, to tell? So I can't constrict and say, no, it's this type of story you must tell. It must be that type of story. Just be aware of the choices you make and the effect thereof. That's all.
Okay,
all right, Patrick was okay. Sorry. You saying, go ahead.
Okay, just to add to what she has just said. I made a video recently that I was in Abuja, and from the window of my hotel room, I saw kids building a house, and I was wondering what they were doing there. And I actually saw them first cooking with this bad-looking place, and I made a video, and I was asking myself, why are they here? Why are they here? So I made up my mind I was going to see them the next day. So I opened the window, asked them whether they were there the next day. They said yes. So the next day I went there and I spoke with them. And when I was leaving, I decided to bless the kid. The youngest child there was 10. The oldest was 18. And they were into construction. They were building. It's a fantastic thing they are doing there. So when I left, I made this video. I posted it like 3 days ago. And one of the comments I got was that, are there no child laws in Nigeria? They should jail the people. They should do this and do that. And I looked at the name of the person that made the comment. He's a Nigerian. And the thing is this. Have you forgotten that this is how we are here? Why I'm saying this. Is it not better these children have a trade than for them to be begging on the streets or being used as maybe kidnappers and all that? So why don't you just encourage the children? I'm not saying that it is not right. It is right for them to be doing what they are doing, but maybe the parents don't have the resources to put them in school. And to top it off, these children are not Nigerians to start with. They are from Cotonou. They brought them here to work. Their master is from the same place, and that's what they do. But the fact that this is what happens normally in Nigeria, just because the guy is living abroad now, he's shouting and saying they should arrest. I told the guy, calm down. This is how we are. We don't have the money to go to school. We learn a trade. I'm not saying it's right, but that is what it is. You understand?
All right, Patrick, you were going to say something.
First of all, let me sincerely, I forgot to say it the first time. I wanted to thank Pastor for having me on this program. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I tell people I'm a storyteller. When they ask me, what do you do for a living? I tell them I tell stories for a living. That's how I pay my bills. When I walked in here yesterday for the first time, how you tell your story is based on perspectives. Yeah? I walked into this room yesterday, and I'm saying, wow, this is a beautiful hall. Look at the chairs, multiple colors. Look at the stage. Look at everything. The setting is so beautiful and so cool, so calm. Now, if you asked me to tell you what was my first experience here, I will so blow your mind with the picture I'll paint for you, right? Some other person will walk into the same hall. And so, boy, this house dark, oh. Everywhere just black. When I enter the place is black. That's the story. Somebody will go out there, if they hear that particular version of the story, they say, well, no, enter that place, oh. They see the place black.
Okay.
That's what he has seen.
Yeah.
It's a perception. Two different people told the same story of the same place, but in two different ways. What are you communicating to your audience? Even in Nigeria, in the midst of poverty, you could tell a poverty story from the point of view of inspiration. Right? You could take a poverty-stricken society and pick one light out of that same poverty-stricken place and tell the story from that point of view. That's what people will see.
But now that you're saying this, I'm wondering, I want to use two popular slums most people visit when they come from Europe or America with a bit of dollars. The popular slum in Kenya. It seems like that slum will never go away. I don't know who knows that slum. The popular one in Kenya, everybody's always going there. And then, of course, in Nigeria, there's the Morocco,
right?
Morocco, yes.
Morocco, yeah.
It appears every UN UNDP. Everybody wants to visit there whenever they come and all of that. You want to say something?
Just wanted to quickly interject. Somebody
Yeah.
flew all the way from UK, stayed in a very expensive hotel. Then she went to, Morocco, Makok,
Yeah.
and then took a picture and said she's in Africa now. This after driving an AC car on a road, staying in a 5-star hotel. The one she now posted on Instagram is Africa. And she's a black lady. She wasn't even a foreigner.
One of the things we also must understand is that why this story of the abject poverty in Africa continues to be pushed out there is because funds flow in that direction. And so you find many of these NGOs, whether it's in Nigeria, Kenya, wherever it is, who are more interested in the funds than they are in even doing significant social work. So they must keep pushing those pictures, those images, and say, look, these things are really bad over here. Things are tough, because they know that the entire donor agency structure is designed in such a way that funds only flow in the direction of abject poverty. So there's also an agenda there that is, pushing out all of this imagery just for the flow of funds.
It's amazing you spoke about agenda. I saw a movie a few years back, and it's a dance movie, an Indian movie, beautiful film, nice dance routines and all of that. And then at the end of the movie, where we see the action part, they dance, and then at the end I just see these dancers now form an object of an elephant with the Hindu sign. It was so powerful, I had goose pimples all over me. Now, that for me, one could say, I don't know. At that point, I realized that, look, whatever story is written on TV or movie, there's a motive behind it.
Yeah.
So how do we become deliberate about that? How do we become deliberate? I want to start with you, Patrick.
Okay, so what I do, I'm a Christian, right? I'm a child of God, born again and all that. But again, because I'm also aware, I'm mindful of my audience, I want to bring in even the unbelievers into my audience. So in my story, there's always a Bible somewhere. No matter how the story is, as I tell the story, I'll find a way to drop in a Bible message in the story that is inspirational. So for me, I say to people, this is my platform. So as you watch my plays, by the way, I'm not really a TV or movie person. I'm a stage person.
Yeah.
I prefer stage. I love stage because it has a lot of adrenaline. If you make mistake, it's live. There's no second chance on stage. You make your mistake, you fix it, and you move on. And those are the kind of things that really excite me as a director, producer. So like this one good man, is a political story. But somewhere in between, I'm saying, godly men need to rule. We need a godly ruler for Nigeria right now. It doesn't matter where you come from. Do you have God in what you do? If you have God, and that's the comment I'm making. It's not very obvious, but you will see it. In fact, they've already started telling me, it sounds like this person. I say, no, I'm not campaigning for anybody. I'm just telling a story. So the point, like to your question, you must understand that for every story you tell, be it skits, be it movies, be it artworks, painting, be it music, you must have a message. And because you know your background, find a way to put your message in your background. It's your only opportunity to tell that story to the world. If you notice, the gay community is putting their content in their productions. You see programs for children encouraging same-sex marriages. So we must make our comments and our statements in our productions. We love the money, but please preach the gospel through your work.
All right, Big Wills, let me hear from you as well. How are you deliberate about your expression, basically?
Okay, just like I mentioned a few minutes ago, when I produce my videos, I try not to tell the narratives they want to hear. I tell it the way I feel it should be told. And I shouldn't be influenced by the comments I get. Sometimes my editor tells me, delete the person's comment. I said, no, we're not deleting the comment. It's there. But we're going to do what we have to do, and we'll keep doing it, which is telling our story in a positive light without allowing their comments or their suggestion influence what we're doing.
Okay. So I'll ask this question because we need to take it a step further. The idea here is basically leveraging on multimedia platforms we have at the moment, putting out content and all of that. And Pastor Shola, I know you're one person who is so in touch when it comes to digital media and all of that. But there are a few other persons who making that shift is difficult for them. Now, it's remarkable that yesterday when Kunle Shonrio was speaking, he said something about becoming a tech person and offering services, certain services, and all of that. But then when you think about it, sometimes it becomes almost difficult. How do we even break that barrier to start with?
Let me try and understand what you're saying. Break the barrier of becoming tech focused.
Yes, it's just about you're moving from, let me give you another analogy. I meet some drivers here in Abuja, and they tell you that they prefer their sticks, the analog, the manual car, to the, the automatic and all of that. And for these people, no matter what you say, they'll always tell you that they prefer the analog, as the case may be.
So that throws a lot of that. I think understanding is very, very important. And part of the essence of this summit is for us to understand the shift in the times and the seasons. That from the moment COVID hit, particularly COVID, I don't know whether these words will be right, but it's a prophetic timepiece to show a shift in the seasons, to tell us that things will never be the way they used to be. And if you don't jump on the train early enough, you're going to get left behind. So interpreting that from the things Kunle Shonrio said, tech is defining everything. It's defining the way we live. It's defining the way we drive. 3-4 years ago, I was in the US and I was driving a Toyota Corolla. It was a rental. And it was the 2016 version. And I noticed that, every time I'd use cruise control because I was doing a 3-hour trip from it was a 2.5-hour trip from New York to Baltimore. And so I put my cruise control and I noticed that every time my wheel got on the white line, the steering automatically turned to keep me within the 2 lanes. And I'm saying, what's going on here? So I would deliberately tilt it, and it would automatically turn back. Then I also noticed that once I'm moving close to a vehicle, the brakes automatically apply themselves to slow down. It's a Toyota Corolla. Nothing special to it. And once the vehicle in front moves the distance, it automatically increases the speed. And that showed me that we are already in the world of autonomous driving. Because if that can happen, it means the car can drive itself. So it's a matter of time, cars are going to be driving themselves. You're just going to push a button and say, I'm going to Utako number 53, and you're going to sit down and the car is going to take you there. And that is beginning to happen. In Dubai today, they're testing out mini, what do you call them now? I won't call them drones. Helicopters. One man, you sit down. You just push your destination from the airport, it will take you to the destination. So we're going to see vehicles flying. They may not look like cars. Now, when you hear these things, that should challenge you. The reason why a taxi driver is going to tell you he prefers his stick shift is because it is believed that automatic transmission vehicles are problematic. And that is often communicated because we don't have the competence to fix them. But once we have people who are trained, who understand these things, and you see, it's that mindset change that matters. You can't convince me today that a stick shift, that those who buy stick shift cars are young people who like control. You know, you want to 1, 2, bam, and slam. There are people like that. And that's why it still sells. But anyone who's driving a car wants it for comfort and for navigation is not going to incline to that. So let everybody know that the times have changed. Once you can embrace that, then your mind is prepared to also understand that technology is going to drive the future. And if technology is going to drive the future, how is it driving your business? So that's just the way I'm putting it. So see yourself as a technology company. I'm sorry I'm taking this long. Yeah. Before COVID, and this is what helped us as a church. Before COVID, there were days I would come to church and I would say, this Wednesday there's no service, watch from home. It wasn't, we had the facility. So we're going to do a live broadcast. There was no reason to do a live broadcast, but stay at home and watch from home deliberately. So we shut the church down and we were doing those things. When COVID hit, for us as a church, the first Sunday after the lockdown, we were already transmitting live. And we were having all our regular services live. Secondly, I'd already said to the church, let's become cashless in our giving. So we were pushing the cashless technology. Use your card, use whatever. So when COVID hit, in the year of COVID, our income was the highest it had ever been. Whereas lots of churches were saying, we need to come back to congregational, let's be meeting, because offerings were physical. So we could see ahead of the times. We were preparing ahead of the times. And this summit is also preparation ahead of the times. Because creatives are going to take over. So it's understanding that helps people easily make the shift that they need to make.
All right, Aunt Kemi, I'm wondering, I mean, we're talking technology here. I mean, the best, sorry I'm sounding this way, but you just write or type, and you said stuff about people see your work on YouTube and stuff. Okay, beyond that, what else is so spectacular? How do we link all of this technology, social media, and all of that to what you do?
It's like I was telling someone, I'm not really a social media person. I don't post. I don't even go to Facebook as much. I let the work on whatever platform, whether it shows up on YouTube or streaming service or cinema, any other platform, maybe because I'm not directly involved with the distribution of that. That's the difference between a content producer like Mr. Odowu, who would shoot his own, edit it, put it on his channel and send it forth. I just write, and it's a collaborative effort because you write, you hand it over to the producer hires the director, hires the actors, the lighting, the camera, the editor, they all work it together, they make the movie, they edit, then they distribute. So usually my work stops by the time I write. However, to mention technology, there was a time people used to write with longhand. There was a time people used to type with typewriter. I'll say laptop is an upgrade. And even now, there's a script writing software for professionals called Final Draft that's recommended. It makes it so much easier. Just add words, and it makes it so much easier. Recently, I also was part of a workshop by Pastor Wale Adenuga, and one of the facilitators said that for songwriting, it was a songwriting workshop, there's a software that can tell you when you're going off key, that can, if you're looking for a rhyme, like how this lyric, it would prop up. And I'm thinking, this is wonderful. You can even record, it would print out the music sheet. So I'm thinking, wow, this is very innovative. So I'll say that technology has helped. I don't know whether that answers your question.
Yeah, it does.
That's the only way I can apply it.
All right, so very quickly, are there people in the audience who would like to ask questions? Okay, you have a question. I'll take 2 questions and then we'll come back. All right, can we get a mic to Joseph? Joseph, right? Okay. Just go straight to the point. Tell us your name and then Joseph, the young man behind.
Okay, the name is Joseph Emmanuel. My question is for Big Wheels. So while you were talking in your session before, you say when you are starting out, don't just go for the money. But where I have an alternative to what you say, I disagree. Because a lot of times they tell people go for your passion. But what happens when the passion is not giving you any money? You are just doing it and over, you are just broke.
Then you're not passionate enough.
True.
To be honest. If I'd waited for people to start paying me, I'm sorry, I'm taking over. If I was waiting for people to start paying me before I started writing, as a 10-year-old girl, saying, then I wouldn't start.
Okay, we'll see how Big Wheels react to that.
Okay, you want to start start making content, right? And
so for me, I started out from photography also. That was my passion. Like you said, I registered for someone. I was learning for free. Now that person will make me work money, will cover weddings. He will not pay me a dime, nothing. I was there. He literally turned me to his boy in the shop for like 2 years. I eventually raised a lot of money, outsourcing other jobs. And then I found out photography was not really paying me that much. But that was my passion. So what I did was I dived into sales and marketing. And then I was able to make a lot of money from there. But then I forgot about my passion now. So I just left the passion and now I'm doing...
So here's what I'll tell you. Since you're making money doing sales and whatever you're doing, why don't you still keep doing that and still keep doing the other thing you like to do? Now you're already making money that will sustain you. So what's your problem?
Okay, if I may just jump in, Big Wheels, if you don't mind. I totally agree with Madam Kemi here. Money must be secondary. I am 35 years in this business. When I tell people I'm 55, going to 56, they don't believe it. I am 55. I've been in this business for 35 years practicing. When I started theater, I'll do plays, there'll be only one person in the audience. Oh yes. One person, and the show must go on. I got my first big break when I made the decision to move to the next level in 2015. I told myself in Abuja, every time a good play came to Abuja was guys from Lagos. I said that has to change. I've been here since 1994 for my youth service. We must begin to tell good stories here in Abuja. So I decided in 2015 to pick up a script, a 3-man script. I didn't know Joker Silva from anywhere, but I called somebody who knew her. I said, I want to do a play, and I want you on my stage. She asked me, who are you? You don't know me, ma, but I need you. She said, okay, you sound so confident, I will work with you. I didn't pay her a dime. She came based on my belief that I was ready to work with her. She was in this town for 3 weeks. I got
hold on, sir. Please put your hands together for him.
I got someone who gave me accommodation for her. I didn't pay for that accommodation. She stayed for free. The person fed her, accommodated her. Joke Silva just acted on my stage. I didn't pay her a dime. We did the play. Today, if I want Joke Silva on my stage, it's a phone call. Because we had a good relationship since that time. The same thing with RMD. RMD is on this show now for free. For free. So money is not important. It is important, but if you put money first, you will lose a whole lot. Relationship matters most. Listen to me. If you build relationships with people, you will get the very best on your platform.
Thank you, Patrick. I just wanted to add, when the vision for this summit was shared with Kunle Idowu, Kunle said, wow, you mean a church is doing this? I'm coming and I'm not going to charge anything for coming. I'm just showing you that. Now, I'm smart. So even though he says that, we will still honor him for coming. You get what I'm saying? But he's shown me the kind of person he is.
Yeah.
That is, someone else we spoke about said, well, you know, for me to go out, I charge 1.5 million. Or something in that regard. And we said, well, okay, we're not charging anyone for this. It's not as if we shouldn't put those things aside. But once you put money first, for me, I disconnect. But if you follow passion and the desire to impact and change lives, me and you are connected forever. So it also goes. And relationship is the currency of the Spirit. Don't forget that. So focus more on building relationships. Money will follow. It's a matter of time.
Yes,
All right.
Pastor, sorry, my
Okay.
brother.
Quickly.
When I said, just in agreement with what Pastor said, Joke Silva did not charge me. Does that mean when she spent 2 weeks here, I gave her nothing? No. I made sure I honored her. For her to spend 2 weeks of her time for rehearsals, unbroken, till production, it would be stupid of me not to say, yeah, take this one as you go back home. Even R&D, we did a show in 2019, Agbaro the musical, at the Hilton. RMD was on it. He didn't charge me. But when we finished, I put something reasonable. I just told him, give me your account details, bros. He said, what do you need it for? I said, just give me. He refused. I called his PA, give me bros' account. He gave it to me. I wired something to him. He didn't believe I would send such an amount. He called me and said, Patrick, this is too much. I said, I need to let you know that I'm grateful. I don't take this for granted.
All right, let's have just one question. We had one from a... no, let's have one more question. I saw a hand here.
Yeah.
Who is that? Wow. Many people. No, okay, actually, her hand was up first before yours. Okay, so we'll tie both questions together quickly, okay? I don't have much time. So let's come. You take your question first. Okay, relax. You won. Please put your hands together for him.
Good day, everyone.
All right.
Sir, ma, we respect you all. I respect you all. So, sir, when you spoke about disappearing people, right? People like African magic, they touch you, you vanish. And then you're talking about being scriptural. Now, the Bible says that Enoch walked with the Lord and he was no more. Enoch walked with the Lord and he was no more, which means he vanished. Jesus Christ, the Son of God, walked upon water. Elijah was taken up by a spaceship. Now, the genre of writing that I'm into is called science spirituality. So I come up with skits like Poseidon and Jesus Christ on the water. Poseidon is the Greek god of water, but Jesus defeats him. Do you get things like that? Now, if we are trying to be spiritual, I want to know where I'm going to. I have a skit where I wrote, but it's graphics, although I don't have the technology to develop it, of Elijah as a firebender. You know Elijah called down fire from heaven. Elijah as a firebender. Elijah fighting Lord Zuko. Elijah fighting Lord Zuko, right? Ares, the god of war, fighting King David.
Okay, make your points quickly.
Sir, these things now, you say they are unrealistic, but comparing it to the scripture, if you can find them in scripture, is there no space for that genre of people flying? Jesus flew now.
Now, I will try and answer and then she'll answer because you're talking about the genre. Now, let me tell you this. Do you know one of the best movies I love? Sci-fi. I watched Infinity War. I went to the cinema twice, watched it on TV 3 times, and I could not wait for Endgame. I was reading, how is it going to end? That's my world. Sci-fi. Make believe I dwell there. Now, Jesus walked on water. Peter walked on water. Communicating those things, using whatever medium, fantastic. Is everybody going to walk on water? Is that going to be a normal daily occurrence?
No.
Definitely not. Elijah was carried by chariots to heaven. Enoch went. Who's the next person to go? Jesus went. How many other people went that way? Philip was teleported. And that gives us a sight to spirituality. Now, is witchcraft real in our environment? In every context, there are witches. Whether it's in UK or America or China, there's witchcraft. What we have pushed is beyond the witchcraft manifestation. It has become a paradigm that is destroying us, where we interpret everything, every natural occurrence in life. Somebody kicks a stone. He says, wakes up in the morning, he dashes his foot against a stone. He says, my enemies have caught me. Do you get what I'm saying? He goes on the way and somebody insults him. He says, I'm going to have a bad day. So we're interpreting life from a very wrong paradigm. It's not to say these things don't occur, but it has become the front. I mean, if a Christian enters an auditorium and he sees a seat that is numbered 666, will he sit on it? He would say, no, God forbid, no be me. It is a number. Do you get what I'm saying? But, oh, that's the Antichrist. I can't sit on it. Or if they give you a car plate number and it is 666, will you accept it? You say, no, God forbid, let's change. Now, while it is in the scripture, those are not the things that should govern our lives. That instead of being God conscious, we become demon conscious. And what you are conscious of will become the prevailing force in your life.
Right, Aunt Kemi?
Okay. You just answered it. Science fiction is a genre. However, if a foreigner should enter now, and all they are thinking is that everybody here is a witch, because all Nigerians are witches, because of a perception that's been consistently pushed out, then there's something wrong in what we are pushing out. So we're not saying there can't be stories about people touching and people disappearing. You can write any story you want, but we need diversity, because the truth is you can't look at everything from one angle. You can't have the whole world thinking all Nigerians are poor, wicked, corrupt, evil, 419, because we're not. So that's just it.
All right, let's have our last question. Can you get the mic to her, please? Okay, straight to the point.
All right, I want to ask, my question is directed to Pastor. Now you have a calling, you're a pastor, and you have a flair for other things. Like in the morning when I came, I was asked, what do you do? I was like, I do so many things, and they said, dabbler.
Yeah, we have a word for that, dabble.
So how can you now fix it? You have a calling, that's God's ordination for your life, but you have flair for some other things. How do you handle it? My next question is, you say you like raising people. How do you feel, or how do you handle situations whereby people you're trying to raise, some of them are not actually following your instructions? How do you handle such people?
All right, thank you.
Lovely questions, I like, and I think you're asking the right person, because I'm a dabbler. I am a serious dabbler. So let me tell you a little about me. First of all, I have a first degree in architecture. I have a second degree in architecture, master's. 2.5 years ago, I started a PhD in architecture. My friend said, I thought you're a pastor, you do PhD in theology. I said, no. Me, I want to contribute to the architectural space. I have a construction company, architecture and construction company, and I pastor this local assembly. I'm in media. So that's why this, for me, really excites me. I was sharing earlier that I used to import cars to sell many years ago. I would import from America, I would sell, sometimes I would travel there. And it wasn't as if I had the money. I just told people, I can bring car for you. They'll say, how much? Pay deposit. I'll travel to America, buy it. In 3 days, I've come back. Even church members won't know I went to America to go and buy a car. I'll bring, and I will sell it. And I'm making $15,000, $20,000, that kind of money. There's nothing right now. My focus is agriculture, just like Kuledu was saying. And I'm looking at agriculture and thinking of investing there. Bitcoin, I entered. I have wallet. I have almost 4 Bitcoin wallets. It's just that I've not lost money like people are losing, because I know how I'm doing my own Bitcoin thing. I have NFTs I bought. I didn't even understand it. Everybody's buying NFT. I went to buy 3 NFT myself. So this is me. And you see, we've been lied to, and I've seen it destroy lives. I'll share a story. Young girl, I was pastoring early, and I was pastoring as an undergraduate in university. And I had this girl who was studying mechanical engineering. She was in her third year, going to her final year. She met me one day. I remember at the university gate. She said, Pastor, the zeal of God, the passion of God is burning in my heart. I want to go and serve the Lord. I said, I am your pastor. I am in university. You attend church. Which fire is catching you that has not caught me? She said, no, I have to go. I convinced her. She left university. She went to Bible school. She married a missionary. They went to Côte d'Ivoire. Years later, I went to visit them in Côte d'Ivoire. They were suffering. I had graduated. I was the one giving them money. She lost her son because they didn't have sufficient funds to support themselves. We lost touch after a while. One day I received a call. She's crying, my husband is dead. We need money to move his body back to Nigeria. And I'm saying, I wish this girl had listened. When I went to Abidjan, I found out that the women were better paid than the men. If she had gone in as a mechanical engineer, she would have been earning so much money, the ministry wouldn't have suffered. Well, they brought the husband's body, buried. She then calls me to say, can you send money for me to buy a sewing machine so I can begin to learn to sew? You see, and I get very pained when I see people who God has not put in a box now come to believe that they're in a box. The man who wrote 3/4 of the New Testament, the Apostle Paul, was a tent maker, meaning he was a builder of homes. And yet he wrote 3/4 of the New Testament. You must recognize the grace of God upon your life. The Apostle Peter, who was the pillar of the Jerusalem church, wrote 1 Peter and 2 Peter. His own vocation was to live 100% on ministry. Was God with Peter? Yes. Was God with Paul? Yes. The same God who was mighty to the Jews in Peter was mighty to the Gentiles through Paul. But Paul had a liberty that he expressed. So I tell people who are in ministry, don't put yourself in a box. If you have expressions that are beyond your primary calling, which is ministry from what you've said, please find those expressions. Don't let religion kill you. I've seen people die because they were put in a box. They were told, no, if you must serve the Lord, you must only be here. But you find other expressions, creativity, story writing, acting, music. Please go ahead and do it. The grace of God is upon you. Heaven is not offended. Men may be angry, but the God who put it in you will be honored when you maximize your potential and you release all the grace of God upon your life.
All right, so, okay.
Now, that's the first question.
Okay, yeah.
I'm even trying to, you see, you have touched an area now. I've forgotten your second question. Look, let me tell you about ministry. Sometimes the people you invest in the most are the ones that will disappoint you. Many times it's those you expect to be following you closely who will not be learning anything from you. Mm-hmm. But you know, what do? You continue to love people. You continue to pray for them. You continue to instruct them. Hope with a lot of patience. The other thing you must understand is not everybody has the same level of receptibility. The seed fell on 4 different kinds of ground. It only produced fruit on one ground. Meaning that you can put men in 4 different categories. There are those who, as they're hearing it, is going out. There are those who hear it, they will endure for a while. The pressure of life will choke it out. The disciples, Jesus must have been shocked. If he didn't understand men, he must have been shocked to realize that the one who he thought would stand with him to the end was the one who said, I don't know you. It is part of the cross you must carry. But you know what? You mustn't give up on people. Keep teaching, keep instructing, keep praying, and just be patient enough. Some will get it quick, some will get it slower, some will never get it. Just keep loving. That's your responsibility. And once you can understand that, you will be free.
All right. Okay, so as we prepare, you can do better than that. Come on. Come on. All right, so as we prepare to round up, I have this question from my producer. This for Patrick. Stage and live theater is an area you are vast in. Not too many people go that route because of the time and resources needed to invest in. With young people who have teaming needs and need to make it sharp, how do you encourage them to stay the course? I think you touched a little bit on that, but then...
Patience. Patience. I think Ido mentioned it earlier on. The key, the operative word is patience. Like every other endeavor in life, be patient. It's taken me 35 years to get here. It doesn't have to take you that long, right? Be patient. How much do you love the theater? What's your passion? We all can be movie directors. We all can be content creators. Find your space. Find your space. Where is your strength? Look for it and follow it. Be focused. Again, I understand that everybody wants to do everything. That's another problem we have these days. People are making it in content creation on YouTube. Everybody wants to go there. Tomorrow, everybody's acting. They are seeing them in acting. You all want to go and act. No, choose what you want. Stay there. You've heard the word consistent all through this morning. Be consistent. Be patient. And please, develop your character. You know, I've learned that a lot of talented people don't have character. Many. Tell you what my professor told me when I was in school. Your talent will take you anywhere as high as you want. But guess what will keep you there? Your character.
All right. Thank you very much.
I just would like to just add to that. I was on a production some years ago, and I like to go on set. The production lasts several months because it was a series. It was noted that the best actors, the ones that came on time, were patient, were not the stars. They were the ones who had drama training. That learning your lines, coming for rehearsals consistently. They're the ones that had labored. Then you had the fly-by-night, the one that maybe entered one reality show and they blew up the next day and suddenly they're actors and start being divas. They become divas on set. And as he said, talent can bring, and some of them really don't have talent, they just have exposure. Talent will take you far, very far. But to be honest, it's character that will keep you.
All right. So I would like to hear more like the parting statement from Big Wheels as well. Any last words for us today?
Simply put, just start. Just start. Because if you don't start, you never get anywhere.
True.
And if you have, like he said, character will keep you. And if you put your mind, you're looking for money, you'll never get anywhere.
True. Be broke.
You will be broke. Thank you, sir.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now, here's the thing. I need to say this. Quickly to what Joseph, the young man, had asked earlier on. I started my career at Liberty FM in Kaduna a couple of years ago. And this was after I finished university, sorry. A lot of people had expected me to go for youth service, but I finished school a little bit late, so I had to get a job. The good thing is, when I left school, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be a broadcaster. So I followed that path. An opportunity came, and I started work at Liberty. But guess what? For 3 months straight, I was not paid. And I was ready to go on and on until But, for some reason, the chairman kept hearing my voice over the radio, and I was doing pretty well as far as, breakfast radio was concerned. And then just like that, an appointment letter came, and the rest is history. So you must serve. You can't escape it. You must serve. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being a part of the International Creative Summit. We're not officially ending yet, okay? We're not officially ending yet. Patrick Otoro will be speaking to us for about 10 minutes, okay? For about 10 minutes. So please pay attention. As a matter of fact, there are tickets to be won, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tickets to be won. You want to go see that show, right? Okay, find out what you need to do. Please put your hands together once again for my guests.